Good afternoon. Welcome to the teacher celebration of EPGP Kochi Campus. My name is Liz Thomas, and I am an IBM employee, and we are here to actually facilitate some of our distinguished academics that has agreed to join us. So the first person that I would like to introduce is Dr. Anandakuttan, sir. He's right now the Dean of Academics and for PGP Bank Business Leadership and also for EPGP Campus. And he was chairperson of IIMK Kochi Campus from 2013-2014. He was the first chairperson that we had. And he's also the chairperson of postgraduate programs IIMK Kochi IIMK Kozhikode 2011-2013. He was chairperson executive postgraduate program 2010-2011, also of IIM Kozhikode. He was chairperson admissions IIM Kozhikode 2008 to 2010, and he is currently chairperson marketing area IIM Kozhikode, and from the period of 2007 to 2008. He was also a member, Distance Education Council, New Delhi, from 2011 to 2012. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you here on Teachers' Day celebration.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you very much, sir. And next, I would like to introduce Dr. Professor Rajesh Upadhyayula, Strategic Management Area. He's actually a fellow Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. He had also done a PGDM FM, Indian Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal. He's a BE Mechanical, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. And before IIMK, he was Manager Development Service, Rural Non-Farm Development Agency, Manager Think Tank, and Head Markets and Competitive Intelligence, TCS. He was an Assistant Professor of XLRI. He was Head Research Desk of TCS. He was a member of Editorial Review Board, Journal of World Business. He held positions in IIMK Kochi, chairperson. He was the second chairperson from 2014 to 2017. He was area chair, IIMK Kozhikode, 2017 to 2019. He was a chairperson for postgraduate programs, IIMK Kozhikode, April 2019. Welcome to the panel, sir. It was good to have you.
He held positions in IIMK.
Next, we have Dr. Abhilash S.Nair. He has a PhD of Economics, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. He also have an MBA in Finance, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. And he also did a BBA, also in Finance, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. He has been a Fulbright visiting scholar at Haas School of Business, University of California at Berkeley. And before IIMK, he was a professor at GLS Institute of Business Management. At IIMK, he's an associate professor in finance, accounting and control area chair. And he teaches courses on corporate finance, valuation and real options and project finance. He was also the chair for EPGP. He was the third IIMK chair. He's a member of Primary Market Advisory Committee, Securities and Exchange Board of India, chairperson Performance Monitoring Committee, member Program Design Committee, PGPX program, member Program Language Committee, Executive Education Kochi Campus. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Priya Nair Rajeev, ma'am. She comes with a very distinguished education qualification, Harvard Business School Faculty Development Program, Global Colloquium on Participant-Centered Learning and Case Writing, PhD in Management Studies, IIT Madras, MA, Personal Management and Industrial Relationship, NG University, Before IIMK, she was a lecturer in SNDT Women's University, Juhu Campus, Mumbai, Professor Loyola Institute of Business Administration. The positions held, she was Head Center of Excellence for Social Innovation, CESI. She was Chairperson EPGP Interactive Learning and Kochi Campus 2019-20, Chairperson OBNHR, and she's right now IIMK Chairperson for last year and was placement of IIMK's and Social Development Program Coordinator IIMK. So other positions that she held was Honorary Advisory of the Board, SCPT, Sports and Education Promotion Trust. She is also the member of Boards of Studies, Rajagiri College of Social Science. Highly commended award, she had received Emerald EFMD Outstanding Doctoral Research Awards in the area of Management and Governance category. She was also first rank MA, MG University, second rank and gold medalist, BA Economics, Calicut University, third rank and gold medalist, pre-degree arts, Calicut University, Kerala. Welcome, ma'am. It's very nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
The final member of this esteemed board, I would like to actually welcome Dr. Venkataraman. He's coming with an educational qualification of NIT Trichirappalli BE Mechanical. He has an MBA from IIM Calcutta. He's a Fulbright scholar from Cornell University. He has a PhD from IIM Calcutta as well. He's a faculty strategy management, IIM Kozhikode chairperson, postgraduate programs in business leadership, as well as the current IIMK EPGP chairperson. So before IIMK, he was a senior director, 1992 to 2010, 18 years in CRISIL. He also held a post Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited CEO and Chief Rating Officer 3 years. He was in TVS Motors 2 years. And he was also in BPL Sanyo Technologies as an R&D engineer for 1 year. Other positions held, he's an independent director at the Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services. And he's co-chairman, Banking and Finance Committee, Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And he's also a member, expert subcommittee on risk management, Bombay Charter of Commerce and Industry. He's also a member, help desk knowledge map of MFI ratings constituted by the consultative group to aid the poorest and the World Bank. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming into our panel. It's good to have all of you.
Thank you.
So, 1 second. This is about our 25th year celebration, the Silver Jubilee celebrations that has been kick-started this year for IIM Kozhikode. It has been 25 years since we came into being. IIM Kozhikode and its Global Alumni Committee celebrates the Institute's 25th Foundation Day on August 21st, 2010 by kick-starting a year-long Silver Jubilee celebration with a string of events leading up to the 25th anniversary on August 21st, 2021. So join us in this celebration by subscribing to the alumni social handles and YouTube channels. And we would love to have you actually collaborate and support and volunteer for this events and celebrations. And we hope that you would actually be with us with all the anniversary celebrations on August 21st, 2021. So thank you very much for having agreed to be in this panel, ma'am and sirs. So we have planned this session as a 3-part session. So the first is actually the past and your personal lives, okay? So I would be asking a set of 10 questions, okay? And it will be directed to each one of you. And I would start with Anandakuttan sir. And so these are very normal, very simple ones, and personal questions that has been asked by the students and also thought about by us so that we can get to know you better personally. So shall we start? Anandakuttan sir, it's your
Why
turn
not? Go
first.
ahead.
Okay. So your full name, sir, can you include the expansion of the initial B?
My full name is Anandakuttan Balakrishnan Unnithan. Balakrishnan is my father.
Okay.
So while I was in school, I just had the first name, but then subsequently my father thought that he should not allow me to, go into this big bad world without a surname. So while I was in 10th standard, this
Okay.
surname was added to me. That's how I got
Okay.
this very long name.
Okay. So can you tell us something about your parents? Were they into academics or how was it?
I'm actually a third generation teacher. My grandparents were teachers. Both my
Okay.
parents were teachers. And so I grew up in a family where, they used to discuss students and students used to come home. And so this is something which naturally occurred to me. Maybe it occurred only to me. We are three. I have two elder sisters. One is a doctor, the other one is an engineer. So somehow this has been with me right from the childhood. I have seen books and answer sheets, and my mother spending a lot of time on evaluating answer sheets. And so this is just like, the son of a politician becomes a politician, son of a criminal becomes a criminal, son of a teacher becomes a teacher.
But that's an
So
esteemed job, sir. It is, I would rather say that my generation is also teachers, but I felt it was truly fearful to even start on that career because I was not confident enough. So it was great that you chose this profession. Where is home, or where was home? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a place called Tiruvalla, which is some
Okay.
100 kilometers south of Cochin. So it's a very small town, more of a village, but an ancient town. Some temples going back to some 2000 kilometers, 2000 years old. So that's where I grew up. We had a lot
Okay.
of paddy fields around my home. I used to walk to my school, some 3.5 4 kilometers away. So it was a very good childhood. Still, I remember fondly. Life was simple and cluttered. Then I left for my engineering. That's the first time I am leaving my home. So I left for my engineering, and then everything changed. I did my engineering. I did my MBA. Those days I was not looking at being a teacher. So
Okay.
after working in the industry for a few years, then I got an opportunity. Like one day I got one of my professors calling me. See, there is an opportunity to teach some of the part-time students in Calicut University, a course in marketing. So can you do that? I said, why not? Let me try that. So when I went there, I find that I am the youngest. I must be 26 or 27 then, and the youngest must be 35 or 40.
Okay.
So the first class I still remember, it was very, very difficult, very traumatic. I was intimidated by all these people. So that's how I started teaching. Then gradually they made me whatever I am by making
Okay.
me feel at ease and then tolerating my ignorance and giving me the space. And that's how I started becoming a full-time teacher.
When is your birthday, sir?
I have actually two date of births. I'm born in 16th of June.
Okay.
But then those days there was a very strange custom that if you're born in June, you'll miss an academic year.
Okay.
So like a lot of people in my age group, so I was made to be born in 31st of May so that I don't
Okay.
miss that particular year. So officially it is 31st, but then originally it is 16th of June.
Okay. That just means you're a Gemini.
Yes.
Are you a movie buff? Who is your favorite actor, or what is your favorite movie?
I am indiscriminate as far as movies and reading is concerned. Well,
Okay.
I see almost any kind of movies.
Okay.
Nothing particular. Allu Arjun is a favorite actor. Well, Mel Gibson is a favorite actor.
Okay.
Anyone. I like usually this fantasy fiction, adventure. Avatar could be one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
Wild West movies I like a lot. So I watch almost everything except things where people don't say anything to each other, and there's a lot of pathos. Those are the only
Okay.
kind of movies I don't like.
I don't know if you knew this. You're admired very much for your attire, especially in our class. We were used to actually wait and watch on the kurtas that you would actually bring in. So, which is your favorite brand, sir?
Family.
Fab India, okay. And on a whole, I also know that you love looking at retail brands. Where did that
Yeah.
hobby come from? Is it from marketing, or the way why you teach marketing, or is it because you are naturally curious about everybody's brands?
See, coming from a middle class family, I had a disadvantaged, I would say, childhood.
Okay,
Many things I wanted were not available. Not that my parents did not want to have those things, but then they were not affordable and they were not available.
okay,
So when I went to my engineering college to do that 4 years, that is when first I had a culture shock. So you had
okay,
students from some of the cosmopolitan areas. They speak a different language. They dress very differently, right? When I did my MBA, even I had a more of a culture shock.
okay,
So by the time I grew up, by the time I began to earn, well, in a way, I wanted to kind of spend money.
okay.
So I wouldn't say it's because I'm a marketing teacher, but I like buy things.
Okay.
It's my belief that it is consumption, right? That possibly make our economy run, right?
And you're doing a bit. So talking about
I'm
first loves, yeah. Talking about first love, sir, which was your first car?
My first car was a Premier Padmini
Okay. When did
that
you
I
buy that?
bought. That must be in 1996 or 96.
Okay.
That was my first car. It was even then a 25-year-old car,
Okay.
and it used to break down quite frequently. And then you know, so I must have spent a lot more money on its repair and maintenance than buying it.
Okay.
That was my first car. Then I bought an Alto. Then I bought an SX4. Then I bought my current car. I have now two cars. One is this EcoSport. Another one is an XUV.
Okay. So, do you like traveling? I'm going to guess that you like. And if I were to ask you whether you're a beach or a river person or a mountain person or a city mall person or a nature person, what would your answer be?
I like malls a lot. I like beaches a lot. I like cities a lot. Uh,
Okay.
I like almost everything.
Which is your favorite city, sir? International or otherwise?
International, my favorite city must be Bangkok.
Okay.
I spent some 4 months there, so it's like no, I know in and out of Bangkok, so I like
Okay.
that city a lot. I visited that place after that maybe some 6, 7 times.
So, what would be the one thing that we would be surprised to hear about you, which we might not know about?
I am rather an introverted, shy person.
I don't believe that.
That's why I said, you'll
Okay.
be surprised.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And that was the end of the 10 questions that we collated for you. So the next on the hot seat would be Rajesh sir. And are you
Okay.
ready for your questions?
Okay, go ahead, let's
Okay.
I'll try my best.
So I saw um, okay, sorry, I have an echo here. So I saw that you have a second name. Who are you named after? And what's your second name?
So Srinivas is not a second name, it's actually my name, Srinivas Rajeev.
Okay.
Okay, so I am not just Rajeev, I am Srinivas Rajeev. Srinivas is our deity,
Okay.
which is Lord Venkatesh. So generally in our family we used to have a deity name in front, and all
Okay.
our all of us have Srinivas in front. That's how we are named.
So are we actually wrong to actually call you Rajesh sir, or was it supposed
No,
to be
no, it's
Srinivas?
fine. Srinivas is also my brother.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Rajesh is actually correct. So Srinivas, and then my brother's name is Rajesh.
Ah. Okay.
Okay.
When is your birthday? I'm going to think that you also have two birthdays, or is it just one though?
No, no, no. I do have only one.
Okay.
No changes there. It's 31st December.
31st December, Capricorn. And can you describe your childhood, sir? Your siblings, your childhood
So I
home.
have an elder brother.
Okay.
My childhood, nothing eventful, I would say. Pretty normal. Anybody's childhood that you can see. I was born again into a family of teachers. Of course, my mother was not. My mother homemaker, but my father is a professor, retired professor of chemistry, and then all my family members, including my grandfather, was a teacher. Grandfather was a school teacher. Then I was born and brought up in a village called as Nuzumiru.
Okay.
It's a place in Krishna district,
Andhra Pradesh.
in Andhra Pradesh. That's where I did my small town, not a complete, but it's not a very large place. Then
How much have you traveled
when?
before reaching Kerala or IIMK?
Oh yes, I did a lot of travel. In the sense, before reaching IIMK, I probably have seen quite a bit. Basically, I did my engineering from Visakhapatnam, Andhra University. Then from there, I went to Bhopal, and from there, I went to Jaipur, and traveled a lot of rural Rajasthan because I was trying to do microfinance when microfinance was not heard of, 97 to 2000.
Okay.
And that was under one of the illustrious persons, name is Vijay Mahajan. Runs an organization called as Basics. So he was the one who started this organization that you mentioned, where I was a manager. So that's
Okay.
also his one of the pets. So then from there I started my PhD journey
Okay.
in Ahmedabad. That's where I further shaped it. And then from there I went to Bombay, TCA. From there to Chennai, TCS, because
Okay.
Bombay was not something that was happening. Then from there I went to Jamshedpur, XLR.
Okay.
Then came back to TCS. So I was on a sabbatical from TCS. Probably I'm the only person who was on a sabbatical, one of very few.
Okay.
And then after in 2010, I came here. So that's how it is.
So this is always on our minds. Why did you leave corporate life? I know that you have enjoyed the challenges there.
Well, see, first of all, I never was enjoying corporate challenges enough. Okay, so TCS was a great experience to a large extent. First of all, because I met some stalwarts there, both in terms of the execution perspective as well as from the thinking of a planning perspective. I also met very great academics who
Okay.
are both in practice as well as academic. For example, I met a person by the name of Pankaj Jamawa, who is the youngest professor of HBS,
Okay.
Harvard Business School. So youngest full prof tenured at the age of 31 or something. So
Okay.
he used to be consulting TCS. So TCS was in that sense a very great opportunity for me to hone my thinking on strategy.
Okay.
So, but however, one of the challenges of an academic is uh, it is about trying to see what more you can do. Now, since you're not interested so much into execution, you cannot always
Yes.
plan. You have to execute. In fact, most classes I say implementation is more important than planning.
Yes.
70% is execution, 30% is plan. So unless you are a good executionist, you cannot just say that I plan. And I never enjoyed that much execution. And that's probably the reason I quit TCS, because I was shaping one team. They started. TCS didn't have a market intelligence team before I joined.
Okay.
So I built the team right
Okay.
from the ground zero. So I was the only guy, and then it went on to some 30, 50 people, and I left. But then this whole 5 years of journey with 1 year break or 8 months break in between, I was only building this team. Once you have the team in place, there is nothing that you are doing. You're just reviewing.
Okay.
Of course, you can do some new things, but there's only a limited scope that you can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have some hobbies, or what do you do on a typical vacation?
A typical vacation. That's a
Yes.
very good question. In fact, been a long time that I took a typical vacation.
Okay.
Uh, uh,
What is
so,
it like?
so, so the last time I took a vacation, I like traveling to places. I mean,
Okay.
I also like. No, if I get an opportunity, I would like to read about.
Oh, okay. Which are your favorite genre of authors, or which is your favorite genre?
Again, no particular genre. I pick
Okay.
up everything. I pick up
So
everything. Yeah, but it's been a while that I could catch up on something. Mostly, I'm into now academic reading or trying to read up something for the class, or some business news. So we are teaching in a group. This is what we are up to. But then I like to read a little bit on philosophy.
okay.
That's one thing which I like, and it was inspired by one of my earlier bosses.
Okay.
He used to tell me that you should read a little bit of philosophy.
Which is your favorite book then? If I would have to ask you on the list of the
Author
books
is
that.
Bertrand Russell.
Okay.
I like Russell's way of thinking.
Okay. So coming to the last question, sir, the same question that I asked Anandakuttan, sir. What is the one thing that we would be surprised if we asked you, and what we don't know?
Okay, what you don't know, I think you would be surprised about anything. Whatever you see is what you get. I don't think you will be surprised. I don't have a interesting response there, unfortunately.
Okay.
If some of my colleagues can add that they will be, they can add, but I don't think I have anything surprising.
Okay. There's nothing that there might be
No,
something we don't know.
something you don't know in the sense, yes, obviously I told you where I came from and how I came from, my family of teachers. These are things that you
Okay.
didn't know. Probably that's
Yes, I
all.
didn't.
And that's about, if you talk about me, unlike Professor Anandakuttan, I'm not an introvert. And I think you will agree with that because you always see me as an extrovert. So I don't have a specific thing uh, which is very so special about. Just like any other ordinary human being. I like
In that
watching movies. I like going to places.
in that case, I would have to ask, which would be your retirement destination? Would it be Kerala, or would you go back to Andhra Pradesh?
I don't know. We have not yet decided on that.
Okay.
But whatever it is, it will not be a city.
Ah, okay.
And this comes from both of us, not from me alone.
Okay.
We don't want to live in cities. We want to live in a place where we can spend time in a calmer distance. So In a sense, we are already in a return time. So from Chennai and Bombay, you can see our transition.
Yes, I think you literally ran away from there. So it is interesting to see that. So thank you very much. And I believe the next hot seat would be Abhilash sir. And Abhilash sir did ask me yesterday, what are the questions? And that was very, very not nice of you, because you could have not asked that to get ahead. But let me ask you this. You have a middle name. What is that, and where did it come from?
Basically, my father's name, Sri Kumar, Abhilash S.Nair. So before you ask the next question, let me preempt that. So I am born and brought up in Gujarat, where reforms came in much later and probably it is still coming. So there is always the last name, middle name, and first name. So last name, first name, and middle name. So it's always written in all the official documents as Nair Abhilash S, which kind of perplexes quite a few friends of mine.
Yes, it does. Can you describe your childhood in Gujarat? And is that also the reason that you might not know that much Malayalam? When did you come back?
Basically, unless I apologetically explicitly say, very few people could make out that I don't know Malayalam as much. So I don't know to read and write. I take literally a lot of time. That was one of the agendas during the lockdown, actually.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's not that. So about my childhood, I am an average student. So I take a lot of motivation from a favorite cricketer of mine, which is Rahul Dravid. So I like his way of persistence. So persistence is what takes me. Fairly mediocre average student tries to do things and keeps on trying. So that's how I get some things. About my childhood, again, I was an average student who missed out on engineering, typical parenting. So I was getting rubber engineering in Gujarat. Those days used to have merit system. So your marks is what gets you engineering. So I was getting rubber engineering. So I was, kind of not very happy. So I joined BSc Mathematics, and then I said, go to hell. If not something that gives pride to my parents. So that's how, by chance, out of frustration, I came into commerce and did BBA. So then initially I liked, so as in most places, I do initially very well, and then somewhere I lose interest, so plateau, and then again the spurt happens. So that's been the story of my life most of the times.
This I have been asked to ask you, and I have to do it with certain glee. If you were not a professor, what would have been your alternate profession? What was your childhood
I don't
dream?
know. I would die.
Oh my God!
No.
Okay.
Let me say, I would probably commit suicide, or people would kill me. Trust me, you ask my colleagues, it's very difficult to work with me. If not in academics, I doubt whether I would have survived. People would have kicked me out. So academics gives that freedom, and I love that freedom.
I do believe that you know where that question was coming from.
My interest started way back in school. So unlike Rajesh and Professor Anand, I am a first generation teacher. My grandmother, before her marriage, used to be a stitching teacher, school teacher teaching stitching. So otherwise, there is nobody in the distant family who is a teacher. In fact, when I left a banking job, my first job after my MBA was to go was in UTI Bank. So my father and my aunt, they asked me, "Are you going for a Vadyar job?" With all the sarcasm that a typical Keralite would have. So, I mean, I wanted to, I like teaching. So I asked one of my teachers, how could I get into teaching? So
Okay.
he is a Malayali, and he is my inspiration for being a teacher. So he said that you clear this exam called UGC JRF, and then you come to meet me. I will tell you then what to do. Before
Okay.
that, don't even talk to me. So then,
Okay.
while in the bank, I got my results, and then the story is where we are. So
Ah. So I heard this in class. You spoke to us one time. Is it true that you actually spoke finance to your baby while you're babysitting her? And I also know that your spouse is pursuing a doctorate in finance. What happened there? Are you trying to teach finance home or?
I think if you ask most of us academics,
Okay.
I mean, many, I really can't vouch for all, but many people I have seen have this habit that when you read something, you try to summarize it and you try to speak it out. So that's the way you learn to use a certain theory or a concept in a dialogue. See, at the end of the day, as teachers, as probably so-called interesting teachers, we should be able to bring in theories and enmesh it in an academic dialogue. So most of us would actually end up using some tidbits of what we have read most recently and bring it out in some conversation here and there. It kind of, I mean, helps us bring relevance to what we have read. So this is way back in 2009. So I was offering a new course called Continuous Time Finance, and I'm not a math trained person. And this is a subject which needed a whole lot of mathematics. So I used to write and prove and rehearse the lectures. And my daughter was born then, and she doesn't really care what I speak. She just wanted to hear some noise.
Okay.
So I had my paternity leave. That was She was born on July 21st. My paternity leave was for 15 days, after which my course was about to start. So that gave me an opportunity and a nice audience. Trust me, even now, if she is probably the most attentive of my audiences, not my students. She likes stories, and I love telling stories.
Okay. When is your birthday, sir?
When is Gandhiji's birthday?
Oh, October 2nd. It's soon here.
After him, October 3rd.
Okay. October 3rd.
So October 3rd.
I heard something yesterday and I decided to use it. I heard that you used to sing and you have not done that for 20 years. Can you sing about 2 or 3 lines for us?
Come on, why do you want? See, you asked me a question and I gave you an honest answer. That
Yes.
doesn't mean, so I'll sing for you folks when we are all together. Why do it now?
But
Ask for
this is
something more,
this is the,
ask something which calls for a teacher.
so I'm going to tell you this. This is being seen by the students and alumni of EPGP and also PGP. Sooner or later, they will know that you used to sing. And I believe that they will make you or they will ask you to sing. So this is my thought with you. Okay. So with that, I would like to ask you the last question. What is that one thing that we might not know that would surprise us?
What is that one thing that you did not?
We don't know about you that would surprise us.
What is the one thing that you don't know about me?
Yes.
Lot of things. I mean, you folks know very little about me. I mean, you have always probably seen the good side of me. So, like every human being, I have a nasty side. So, I mean, uh, I don't know what to answer on that. I mean, you want to know about? As I told you. See, I have always been against my age group. So when I was young, I never wore a Bermuda. I used to wear a pant because of whatever reason. Then when everybody was wearing jeans, I used to wear a kurta. So all my neighbors, everybody, when you stay outside Kerala, all the Malayali society is very close-knit. So everybody was very scared as to, this fellow's going the wrong direction with a chola and a kurta. So I have always done things which probably are not very socially acceptable. I mean, popularly socially acceptable. So nothing much about that. I mean, there are so many things you don't know about it. So, I really don't know what is the one thing I should say.
Anyone, because we cannot choose, right? So I just asked, but this is better because I didn't know about it, and I find it interesting. So thank you very much, and we will go to Priya ma'am and ask her questions. She's on the hot seat next. Hello, ma'am. Who is Meenakshi? And do you think if you were named Meenakshi officially, would there be any difference? Mute. Ma'am, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
Okay. So you asked me how would it sound if it is my official name?
Yeah. So
it is my official name. It's only that it's not in recorded documents. So for me, it's as important and as dear and close and as representative of me as my name.
But it
Priya.
is two different concepts, right? Meenakshi is, yeah.
Yeah. The point itself, my taking the name Meenakshi itself is a concept and is about my life going forward. So in that sense, it's very, very important to me.
I was about to ask you that, are you a gold medalist? But I'm not going to say that, or I'm not going to ask you that. But instead, I would be asking you something else. Have you ever got less than average marks in any of the subjects? Because I saw gold medalist here, gold medalist there. Why was that urge to have excellence?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. I've mostly been that way in school, and I'm an only child, so a good part of my time went in reading and finishing homework and things like that, because I was always a very diligent student. And the second thing was also about being the first one to answer in class, the first one to go for take up a speech competition or a recitation or to make an announcement in the assembly. So these are things I remember about myself as a kid, and it was again the same kind of an interest which was there in college as well. I have represented my college in several cultural events. I was part of the college union right from a pre-degree, degree, all through until I finished my post-graduation. So I think it was just part of me to be prepared and ready. I think that's about it.
So how was little Meenakshi like? I mean, in Palakkad, did you actually grow up in Palakkad, or was it somewhere else?
No, I was born in Bangalore. My father was in the Indian Air Force. So I have lived in several Indian cities, all the places where my parents went. And my father would get transferred every 2 years. He was in the flying signals. He is trained in the USSR. He's one of the first persons who set up several signals units in India for the Indian Air Force. So I've been to all the flying stations. We've lived there. So in that sense, I had a very cosmopolitan childhood, going to different places. And I can literally pack up a house in 3 days. I'm so trained in it. And I came back to Kerala when I joined college. My father retired by then. And Palakkad at that point in time was a very small town, a very small town. It still is a small town, but then back then it was really small. So it was a huge difference for me to come from a cantonment to what we call a civilian area. and live in a new place and get used to a civilian lifestyle where you have to fend for yourself. Well, it was not so at all during my childhood because everything is taken care of there.
Yeah.
So it was a new adjustment, a new learning. But I think the fact that we changed cities often made it quite easy for me to adapt to just about any place, any circumstances, and any kind of people. And that has really helped me in life.
When is your birthday?
It's on Children's Day, the 14th of November.
Wow. Okay. And when did you decide to teach, or what inspired you? Who inspired you?
Yeah, so I clearly remember this instance. So as I told you, as in school, I was into elocutions and theater and dramatics. I was an actress. I've done several plays. I have directed a few as well in college. So when I was in my 10th standard, we had a science fair. And my teacher called me and said, you have to put up a stall. A stall meaning that you have a poster, a chart paper, you draw a concept and you explain it to your to anybody who would come to your stall. So at that point in time, I decided I will present television because it was newly introduced, and how the television and antenna, how it receives signals from an antenna and what all goes behind that picture tube and stuff like that. So that my stall was a big hit because people I think other students were just curious to find out about how a television works. And my teachers also came to my stall, and many of them commented, in fact, that I presented really well. And among them, I had my favorite teacher. So she was Madam Uma. She was my favorite teacher. She taught English and history.
Okay.
So she told me, Priya, you can be a teacher someday. And that just stayed with me. Because for me, it was the biggest compliment a child could get in the world, to be complimented and to be said that you had the potential to be a teacher from your favorite teacher. Yeah. So I think I sealed it then that I want to be in academics. And later on, as life unfolded, it somehow was the place which was most inviting for me, because I did try to apply for corporate jobs and went for a few interviews. But this was after a break of 5 years from my education, because my daughter was born immediately after college, and I decided to be a full-time mom, take care of her, and I started working after she started school. So by that time, industry was no longer interested in me, or they didn't want to bet on a person who has been, as they say, at home for 5 years. Which is, well, it's their loss. So with my academic credentials, academics was so welcoming, and I went there.
So you're known for your language dexterity. This I say because I saw one of the video wishes, and they said that listening to Priya ma'am, you cannot find a better word from that she's using to describe something. Where does that love for language come from? Is it dad? Is it mom? Or is it anybody else? Or where does it come?
I think it's from books, which I love to read. And I've always been interested in people. And when I think of all the close friends I have, one of the things which has attracted me to them has been their ability to articulate. So I was always fascinated by people who were good speakers. And I always heard them. I always listened to them. I always listened to them, the words they spoke, the way they spoke it. And this has been my lifelong endeavor to improve how I express and to be even more articulate and to find the most appropriate words. So it's a lifelong love for words.
Okay. Coming to the last question, again, it's common to everybody. What is that one thing that we don't know about you that would surprise us?
Yeah, I think I agree with Abhilash when he said that there are a whole lot of things that people don't know about me. In fact, there's very little that people would know about me. But one thing I would like to publicly share is my spiritual quest and my initiation into my own project. So people initiate themselves into religions and sects, and different kinds of philosophical orientations. But my initiation was into a project which I started for myself.
Okay.
So about 4 years back, I started experimenting myself, and I started a project where I'm the experimenter and the experimented. And I
Okay.
call that project Tripura Sundari. So the project
What
has,
does that mean? What does it?
yeah,
Why?
so
Why did you choose that?
it is.
name?
I'm very devoted to the goddess. So I've always been a worshipper of the goddess.
Okay.
And I have reveled in all her different forms and in my love and devotion to her, and an equally reciprocated love from her to me. So it was almost natural that I would choose her name for the project. And when I thought of this concept of Tripura Sundari, which in common layman's terms is described as a woman who is the most beautiful across 3 worlds. So I was thinking a woman's greatest description can never be her beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So what are these 3 worlds and what does she rule over? And from that question began my spiritual quest of understanding the goddess who rules the 3 realms of the mind, the conscious, the subconscious, and the supraconscious.
Okay.
So in my spiritual journey, I am experimenting with it. I'm walking that path myself before I would lead other women in a similar fashion. So to help me walk that very arduous and unknown path, I took the name of my favorite goddess, goddess Meenakshi, because I had her picture in my room since I don't remember it. Maybe I was 5 or 6 years old. In fact, we got it in a calendar, and after the year was over, I just cut out her frame, her picture, and left it in my room. And because I'm an only child, she was the one I spoke to after school. I would come to her what happened in class, what I did well, what I'm worried about, all of those things. So she's been my constant companion. So it was almost natural that I would take her name to help me reach where I am to reach.
Okay, that's a beautiful share. I'm sure most didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. Thank you very much, Venkat sir. Hi, I know you're the last because you're the very recent EPGP chair that we have, and you're on the hot seat. So your full name, sir. Again, what is your initial stand? S stands for.
Oh, actually, my full name is Venkataraman Shankaranarayanan. And Shankaranarayanan is my dad's first name. Right. So, typical Tamil tradition, many people don't have a middle name like, Abhilash. Some people do take, like Rajesh said, about, having a deity name or a village name and so on. Even if it was there, possibly it got dropped off somewhere, as in not for me, but somewhere along the way, I guess, in the family tradition. So Venkataraman is my first name, and that is a name that I got because this is taken from my maternal grandfather. So there is this system of handing down names. So we were 2 of us, me and my elder brother. So in the family tradition, and this is followed across many Tamil Brahmins. The elder son, if the eldest is a son, he takes the name of the paternal grandfather. If the eldest is that holds across other traditions as well. If the eldest is a girl, then she would take the name of the paternal grandmother. Since I was the second one, then I inherited the name of the maternal grandfather. So that's how it goes. So that's my first name. The second name, we don't have the tag of a family name which goes on typically. So you take the name of the father. So I have a long first name and I have a longer second name. But I still cannot rival many Telugu names, for example, or a Sri Lankan name.
You were originally from Cochin, right? If I remember right, you're from Kallur, right? Which?
Well, actually,
go on, sir. You were from Kallur,
sorry?
Right?
Yeah. Well, Kallur was possibly the last spot I stayed in Kerala for a long time before I left the shores of Kerala, I should say. Because otherwise, I grew up. My childhood was my schooling was all over Kerala. I spent a couple of years in Elur, which is now closer to our campus, I guess. Maybe another 3 years or so in Alua. Then we actually came to Calicut. So my dad was in sort of loosely connected to KSIDC. So at some point of time he moved from being AG's office person to a KSIDC person, and then he was in various projects. So I actually spent 3 years in Calicut. So my primary school, bulk of it was in Calicut. Grew up in Calicut. And then came back to Cochin, broadly saying Cochin, was in Palarivattam, then to Kallur, couple of different spots in Kallur. And now you can say I'm in Kadavandra, loosely saying. But yeah, so if I count the number of years, you can say mostly, and I studied in Karavancheri for most part.
Which was the college? Which was the school, sir?
I'm all over the place. No, school. There's a school called St. Joseph's English Medium High School. St. Joseph's or the Woods. One of the schools I think Professor Priya is associated with, and possibly Professor Anandakuttan. There's a school called Rajagiri. We were the arts rivals at all points in time. That
so when is your birthday, sir? I asked everybody, so I have to ask you.
Ever since you asked this first question, I've been waiting for it now. Professor Anandakuttan started with 2, and then somebody else with the 2, and somebody else with just a regular. So I have actually 3 birthdays. There you go. I never fail to get that reaction. Yeah, 3 birthdays because my actual birthday is actually 9th of March. Anyway, it doesn't change. I'm still a PCN, whichever way you look at it. If you look at the zodiac, right? So it's March and March 9th. But what happened was, growing up, my family, they never believed in birthday celebrations in the classic, the what do you call the Roman calendar. It was never really so. As typically, which is true to Kerala tradition. You look at the star birthday, as they say, Tarannal, right? The star of the day on which you are born. Whenever that repeats, so the Malayalam year or the Tamil year, that's how it goes. So they would very, very, religiously and scrupulously follow that birthday tradition. So if my nal is Chitra, my star is Chitra, it's Chitra of that particular month I was born would repeat, right? So I would wait for, when is my turn to wear a colored dress and go to school and distribute those sweets. That never typically would come. Or even if it came, I would figure that every year it's a different day. So I never really thought about which was my birthday. I was told this is your birthday, I would take sweets and go. It never struck me to, anchor a particular date or something. And it's fascinating because one day, I think when I was applying for colleges and so on, which would have been after my 10th, right? Even then, even I don't think I filled the application that time. My dad would have filled it. When I was applying for, engineering and those days, I was filling the application form, and then I had to take my SSLC book and see what's my date of birth, and I figured that it is 19th March, so I said it is 19th March, okay, and I kept filling that up for a very, very long time. I think it was not before 25 or 26 or thereabouts, when in our tradition there is an arranged marriage and they take your Jadagam horoscope, and then so somewhere I chanced to see my horoscope, and then it said 9th March. I was surprised. So I went to my dad and said, "Hey, there's some mistake. It says it's 9th March. It should be 19th March." I was like excited, finding my whole horoscope is wrong. How is this 9th March? I took it to my parents and this is 9th March.
Okay.
They said, yeah, it's 9th March. But I said, but all along I've been saying it is 19th March. Yeah, so what? He said, so what? But how did this happen? So then they said, yeah, we noticed it. The sister in I studied in economics, right? So the sister who was filling up those, transfer certificates, and she happened to put an extra 1 on this side. you know.
Okay.
So that's how it turned out to be 19th March. And all along I've been billing 25 years. And I have now a bunch of, a few people in my family, very or close people who refuse to believe that 9th is my birthday. Even I don't believe 9th is my birthday. If you ask me what's my birthday, I will say my records, my identity. You know, I wish I could have a second identity built on that, but I cannot. So I believe that. So I have my star birthday, I have my real birthday, and I have my real birthday. So there you go.
Okay. Okay.
That's
That's an interesting story. And okay, so this I didn't ask everybody, but I have to ask you because you're the very recent arrival at IIMK, I think 2 years back.
Yeah.
So when did you start at IIMK?
I started IIMK February 2018.
2018. And
Yeah.
what was your first impression of the beautiful IIMK campus, and how did you find EPGP campus at Kochi? So it's part of the question.
You need to keep a check on time, because if you get me talking, I keep on talking, right? So just put a hard stop to it whenever. So my first impression of IIMK campus was not that time. So my first impression of IIMK campus was possibly about a year before that. So I had submitted my thesis and had nothing much to do, and I was coming home to Kalur, as you said, the Kalur or Karavandra, wherever it was at the time. And I thought I'll go across to IIM Kozhikode and meet a few friends. In fact, I had met Professor Rajesh at Kochi, and he also had said, you know, you should go and meet, you know, see the campus. I think that was around the time of the convocation, you know, just told it. So he told me that, you know, nobody will be there, give it a day or two or something of that sort. So then he connected me to Professor Sumit Mitra, strategy area. So I just thought we'll have a chat and find out, you know. And this I can't forget, because I was staying in a hotel. I came to the gate and I told the auto fellow, it was a taxi. I said, let it go, I'll take time. I don't know when I'll come back. And I had a backpack with me. Nothing much in it, but yes, it was not too heavy. Before I let the auto go, I asked the security, how far is it? He said, just a kilometer. And I told the auto, go away. It's okay, you know. So when I called the Professor Sumit, he said he was in a meeting and it'll take about half an hour. I said, that's okay. I love walking. And, you know, they told me just about a kilometer. What they didn't tell me, it's a kilometer upwards, you know.
Yeah.
And there I was for the next part of I thought I'll make it in like 10, 15 minutes. For the next part of close to 40 minutes, I think, with a backpack on my back, sweating and panting, and, you know. So that was my first impression of IIM Kozhikode campus as such. But of course, beautiful, you know, absolutely breathtaking, especially when I came to stay for my interview and so on. See, I've been to IIM Calcutta twice, and there is this habit that you have that once you are on the campus, lakes, and, you know, you think that's the most beautiful campus in the world. But out here, when I came, I had to eat humble pie. You know, I said, no, this really, you know, takes the cake. So I had to downgrade Joka to a lower level. So it is awesome with you.
So we're running a bit out of time, so I will start with the video wishes, okay? And we have on our backstage 2 EC members who would like to actually wish you the very best on Teachers' Day. And some of you have taught them, some of you haven't. And we have first Ashwati Rajesh of EPGP 01 evening batch with us. And Ashwati, you're up next.
Good afternoon, my dear teachers, alumni, and students of IIMK. Today, I'm honored to be here with our favorite chairpersons as we celebrate the wonder that a teacher is. And very happy Teachers' Day to each and every one of you. Also, all professors who have taught us at IIMK and who have interacted with us on several different occasions. Thank you, each and every one of you, for igniting our imagination, pushing us off our boundaries, and finding us, helping us know that we have sometimes built the limits for ourselves and break it sometimes also. One common thing which I find among the teachers is a passion for the subject, and this has instilled in us a lot of love for learning. Thanks once again. Thank you for teaching us about the good, bad, and the ugly sometimes, and also ethics and morals, and sharing your experience, knowledge, and wisdom. I will be thankful to each and every one of you, all my teachers, not just today, but on all days. And I believe that we, your students, will reach up to and go beyond your expectations and keep you happy, not just today, but always. Thank you so much and happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashwati. That was beautiful. And we have, Nitin has connectivity issues. We will try to connect him later. Next, we have the video wishes we have collated specifically for you. And it goes in 3, 2, 1 second. Okay, here it goes. And we are waiting. Okay.
About Venkat sir. So I'm fortunate enough to attend 3 of his courses, including SPRA, LCA, and MGP. And one of the instances I remember is the first class in which he told us to write a story from an annual report in which we are even blank. But at the end of the course, the learnings were much higher. So looking forward to greater sessions ahead, and I wish him all the best for his future again. Thank you.
Hi, I am Manu Mohanan, EPGP 06 batch. I am taking this opportunity to thank 2 great and eminent professors from Kochi. The professor who taught us the beauty of valuation. He taught us a lot of techniques, methods to value anything and everything in this world. But we would like to tell you in return. Dear Abhilash sir, we are not finding a yardstick to measure our relationship as a teacher and student. He is always approachable and caring. I would also like to thank Professor Venkat for sharing his immense industry knowledge with us. On this occasion of Teachers' Day, I would like to thank both of you. All the very best, and thank you so much.
I take this opportunity to thank all my professors for their sincerity, dedication, and approachability as they add value to our lives through the CPGP course. A few words about Abhilash sir. Abhilash sir, you're like God, because you started my world of financial management with the story of an apple I supposedly ate. I sat in your class mesmerized by GP, not geometric progression, but the genuine pleasure with which you teach us all. I look forward to SCFF in every class, financial complexities and funny fables. And on this Teachers' Day, I want to thank you for being my beta, best exemplar, teacher, and advisor. Thank you, sir.
First of all, let me wish all professors at IIMK a very happy Teachers' Day. Now, I also want to speak a few words about Rajesh sir. I have attended both his courses, but the most remarkable one was his case introduction session right after our induction program. Wow, that was a cracker. He taught us how to approach a case study and make the maximum out of the case-based learning that will be heavily used in the program later on. And this became more clear during his strategy course in Q3. His case study sessions used to remind me of a typical Hitchcock movie where a stunning plot twist will be awaiting us towards the end of the session. Thank you so much, sir. I also want to speak about Professor Anandakuttan, sir. He taught us just one elective course called New Product Development and Marketing of Innovations, but the learning was tremendous. I found his way of explaining the concepts very informative and equally entertaining. Also, he made us go through a real product development experience as part of the course project that proved to be very useful in applying the concepts that we learned. I was also so lucky to have some really nice interactions with him in his role as the Dean of Academic Affairs. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi, I'm Nisha from 04 batch. I have been fortunate to interact with 2 chairpersons of Kochi Campus, Professor Rajesh and Professor Abhilash. Through his case studies, Professor Rajesh has opened up my mind to various possibilities and scenarios way beyond my thought process. This has enabled me to be a better solution provider in my consulting career. For me, the best takeaway from Professor Abhilash is his easiness in communicating tough concepts, effortlessly well understood by his faculties. Thanks to both my teachers for changing my perspective and be a better one, and wish you both a very happy Teachers' Day.
Hello all, I'm Sujit from EPGP 06 of Kochi Campus of IIMK. I would like to thank my professor Rajesh. He has taught me mergers and acquisitions. I'm very happy that he has facilitated it subject in such a way that we could understand the frameworks easy relating to our previous experiences, which was very enlightening what we have done and what were the circumstances which we have gone through. So rewinding our experience with the present frameworks, he said, I'm immensely thankful for my professor and wish him a very good Teachers' Day and safe teaching it. Thank you.
I would like to talk about a professor who has actually influenced me by his discussion outside the class this time. So I want to talk about Professor Anandakuttan, who had spoken at a Rotary event, and I think it's a mark of a good teacher that he influenced a student outside the normal classroom. He was talking about how to think about charity at the Rotary event, and he gave us some very good insights about how to contribute, whether a lump sum contribution makes you more happy or whether smaller contributions spread over a period of time makes you more happy. So this was one of the themes of his talk that has stayed with me. So I want to dedicate this Teachers' Day in his name for the IIMK event. Thank you.
Someone said teaching is a work of art. Priya ma'am, thank you so much. Your unique way of teaching is certainly a piece of art that influenced me and taught me something that I will be keeping it for my life, cherish it for my life. Thank you so much. Happy Teachers' Day to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
The 2-year MBA program has been quite eventful and impactful in my professional life. A teacher affects eternity with a never-ending influence in one's life. It is so true about our life post-MBA, where we have got a great influence of teachers still running, even though we have got out of the classes. I'm so grateful to have had all the great teachers throughout the 2-year MBA program. A special mention to our ex-chair, Professor Rajesh Upadhyayula. The way he used to break open the case in the class and exhume principles and concepts out of it used to be remarkable. As the director of consulting for the US operations, I enjoy facing business problems and applying concepts, and specifically applying the learnings from the MBA classes. Thank you, all the teachers. Thank you very much.
This Teachers' Day, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to two of my beloved professors, Professor Venkat and Professor Abhilash sir. Abhilash sir had taught us in the maximum number of courses for our batch. He laid a good foundation for finance courses for most of us. What I like most about Abhilash sir is he is one of the most approachable professors at IIMK, and I have a very good connect with him. So thank you, sir, for being our guide. And next is Professor Venkat. We have been lucky enough to be one of his initial batches, and he taught us SBRA, which is one of my favorite subjects in my 2-year at IIMK. He gave us a very good framework to understand, analyze, and rate a company. And about being a professor, what I like is, the humility of sir. So thank you, sir, for being a great teacher. And I wish all my professors a happy Teachers' Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that video wishes. We have a next batch coming in. Before that, I think we have Unnithan on the backstage who would like to actually express his wish.
Hi, Liz. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for taking time out to attend this session. I, on behalf of the Alumni Association, on behalf of the Kochi Campus, all alumni and participants, want to thank all our professors and chairpersons for all that you've given us in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the guidance, in terms of the support. Kochi Campus remains extremely vibrant thanks to all the great professors we have had. 4 of you have, actually 5 of you have taught me personally. I've had the privilege of being a student of yours. And Professor Venkat, thank you. I think thanks to the interactions we have had with you, the campus to alumni connected Kochi is even stronger than it was. And I want to thank all of you once again and wishing you all a very happy Teachers' Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have the next batch of video wishes. And I would ask Parvaz to actually put that in. I think there was too much music there. We were not able to hear. I think he's going to put it without music or another music. Before that, I would like to go on with the next part of the session. And this would be a very short one because we're running out of time. This would be random. And one of the questions that I have is, Venkat sir, I heard today morning about a very interesting incident that you taught business markets and you were talking about your mentors. And unfortunately, you were, I think one of your mentor died, and there is a story behind that. And he was one of your most inspiring persons in your life. Could you actually say a few words about that?
Well, I don't teach business markets, but it is just in one of the cases which I had written, which I used for one of my courses, where I'm also the character in the case. It's picking off on one of my corporate experiences. So yes, there was a gentleman who I worked under. He was the chairman of the company that I worked for, where I was the founder CEO. His name is Terence Martins. Of course, I called him a different name in my case, but amazing gentleman. I think if I've learned anything about governance, anything about how to sort of manifest integrity at the workplace or in dealings, I think I would hold him as probably the best example that I've seen in a corporate relationship. Actually, not one, but 2 of my mentors, both have passed on, and that I must tell you, I have nothing to do with that. So I think I bring them sort of the picture in the classroom. I think that's very much better. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Rajesh sir, somebody actually asked me that to remind you again to tell that story about Satyam going out of business and what TCS decided to do or not to do about it. And that was one of the moving, I would say, anecdotes in ethics for us. So if you would like to recount it, that's one of the very most powerful things. And I believe that it is very apt in COVID situations right now, because some are actually going through that situation, and it is very nice that TCS thought about that. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, I think it's not just about TCS. In fact, I mentioned when Satyam was going under, there was a lot of talk about takeovers of Satyam immediately because the share price was too low. And so many companies were thinking of buying. And there was also, a lot of employees of Satyam were applying to many of the other IT services companies. Pretty good employees who actually erected Satyam. And at this time, some of the conversations at the strategy top management level of TCS was primarily, it comes from the Tata culture. The Tatas has been doing this for a pretty long time. And they said that, they will not try and poach any customers of Satyam. Because the customers of Satyam was available to be taken away. Because customers were also very unsure. And when the current chairman of Tata Group, then Chandra, that's the story I gave. We collected data of competitive intelligence, and when we collected data, we could actually collect data of all these 600, 700 customers of Satyam in a span of about a week when Satyam collapsed. And we actually knew which projects, which part of the value chain and tech stack all these customers were deployed. And that's when we started looking at, obviously sales guys want to go ahead and get those businesses out. But that's the time when the current chairman, at that time he was the chief operating officer, he told that nothing doing, this will not go anywhere, it will be dumped and destroyed. So that was, standing for some values, because one of the beliefs Tata always had, without competition, obviously there is no growth. And you cannot learn and grow as a giant. And that probably, stayed with it. So that was one of the stories that I narrate, which was a very personal experience for me, because I was the one heading the market intelligence team. So I was collecting this data, and suddenly we didn't use it. So the project left midway. And this is very apt at this time, because many businesses are collapsing, and this is the time for larger firms to actually take stock and not just take businesses out, but support the SMEs and smaller firms in their endeavors to continue. Because if you don't do that, at some point in time, your competition will not do that. Competition is the essence for good learning and good output and good value creation.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. The next question, I think Venkat sir has just a few minutes. The next question was actually to Anandakuttan sir and Venkat sir. A person actually, there was a questionnaire floated, and this was specifically to both of you. The first question was to Anandakuttan sir, that you were the first chair that came in, and now you're Dean of Academics. And you also have the management of EPGP and the business leadership. What are your plans for the future? Is that something that you can share? And what would you like to have the students actually do? And what is it that you would like to have from us if to get your goals realized? Any support from us alumni or from the students?
Professor Venkat is very familiar with it, so I would ask him to kind of address that question. Professor Venkat.
Well, I'll take the last question. Do we need help from you? We need a lot of help from you.
Okay.
I think all these, 7 years now, I think this institution, I'm talking about the Kochi part of it, I think we have built a strong base. We've grown, and we have grown possibly in stature mainly because of many of you who have actually taken it and kept it vibrant more than anybody else. And I think maybe this is the time, with Anandakuttan also there, and everybody else, who is wishing, Kochi to be taken to greater heights. Maybe we can think of doing things which are, bringing in a much greater focus into what, as IIMK Kochi can relate to the rest of the business community, maybe bring in additionalities to the programs that we do. So far we had, for example, a wonderful, bunch of cadres year on year. But sometimes when you see that, there are people who with 15, 20 years experience in the classroom. Some people with 5 years and, close to 5 years in the classroom, and people in the middle. So we have been thinking about it at the execom, at the, the dean's level, the director's level as well. I think there is an opportunity possibly to bring out offerings which are meeting people's aspirations a lot more closer, and that is one of the things that we want to think about, and that is where we would need, your help in being able to think through some of these issues. Maybe use you as a bouncing board to get some inputs as to where would you like to see this campus going. That is really one of the agendas we have on our plate. Right? So
Thank you very much, sir.
Going forward, we do have a lot of plans, but all of those plans mean nothing without our stakeholders, which includes all of you there centrally.
Okay, we are coming to the close. I think, sir, you would have to leave very soon, Venkat, sir. There are a couple of videos, mainly for Priya ma'am and Anandakuttan sir, and we had a slight glitch on that because we made the music louder than the voice or the message. We were trying to clean it up, and I didn't hear from it. But Anandakuttan sir, here's a special message from one of my batchmates, and obviously you are a very personal favorite for her, and we would like to air that right now. Okay, so we have a slight delay on that. My question to Abhilash sir. So there was a question from a lot of people, okay, to say that finance, most of the finance, why do this was also mentioned just before the pre-trials also. So one of the questions that they had asked is, why do you make sure that everybody has to have the basics, even when they were ready to actually have the condensed form? So the question was, is there a difference between having the PGP the whole year for 2 years constantly for day in and day out to teach a student versus EPGP, the condensed form, where you get a person who does not have anything to do with finance, and you have to, at the end of the 2 years, you would have to actually teach them what you know about finance. How much of a challenge is that?
Actually,
I have to ask this because
I got it.
Yeah, I have to ask this because finance and accounting was the most struggling thing that we had, and we kind of hated it. But then I cannot mince words here, but we kind of hated this. Okay. So with that question, I would actually come to the video wish. The video wish is ready, but please answer that.
No, I mean, I think most of my colleagues would do the same thing. That is, ensure every participant is on board. So condensation doesn't mean dilution. it means concentration, isn't it? That's so I think that should answer your question, isn't it?
Yes, it does, but you have no idea how we got hurt. So I can tell you this: if it is HR, it is fine. If it is strategy, it's fine. If it is marketing, it is great. We can figure it out. But if the first and the second financial management is going all over the place, and then we have semester 3 and 4, we have no idea what's going on. So just so that you understand that. Okay, the video which is ready, and we would like to air that, and very soon we will be closing. Sorry, sir, I have to take Venkat sir. I have to take a few minutes. So. Sorry, there was no sound on that one. I think we still have a glitch, and I think we are out of options here. So what I will actually recommend here is we would be particularly sending you your personal wishes, and we would be posting it on the website also, so that all the wishes that we have collated, we have an unfortunate glitch here. So I'm really sorry, Priya ma'am and Anandakuttan sir. There was very beautiful wishes waiting for you. We will send it to you personally. And since we are running out of time, I have no other options other than to actually close. So I'm going to close with this beautiful message. Each of you I know personally, and I have interacted with you. Priya ma'am has not taught me, Venkat sir has not taught me. Rajesh sir, I had very wonderful moments actually fighting it out as a class rep, and Abhilash sir has even more better moments actually trying to find out how to control the 04 batch. Anandakuttan sir was actually our star in marketing, where we heard about a lot of things. And in my batch specifically, the marketing crowd was more than the finance people. So each and every time they come back from your class, and they would actually say that, okay, fine, this was useful, this was insightful. He was talking about Fab India. Obviously, he loved it. And the setup of each malls. And then there was this subject that we ran out of a professor, and there was at least about 15 to 20 petitions to bring Anandakuttan sir back for that particular subject. And I, as the class rep, has to collate all those things and go to Abhilash sir and sir saying that I don't like that visiting faculty that you're trying to give us, but we would like to have Anandakuttan sir, and can you please give us that? And Abhilash sir will just look at me and saying that you're making my life so miserable. And fine, I will speak to Anandakuttan sir. So then immediately I would say, I already spoke to Anandakuttan sir and he agreed. So can we have that particular that particular batch started, sir? We are everybody's having. And that was one of the few things we have. So the management course as such, I know you guys have actually told us how to manage corporate life, or maybe be a management professional. Okay, what I don't think most of you have thought about is you are teaching us negotiation management, that we are actually projecting on you, especially for deadlines, for assignments, and for coming up late in the class. Rajesh sir, I want to tell you specifically, you had a particular person in your class in 04 batch where he came late and you asked, "Where are you going?" And Mobin, okay. So he stood there on the doorway, smiling this beautiful smile and trying to charm you. Today was his marriage, and he got married at 11 a.m. today. And it was beautiful photos. Obviously, we can just see streaming, and obviously that's part of our life. So I would like to close this with thank you very much for being with us in our entire life. The influence is far more reaching. For me personally, as a person, the things that you taught, I am giving it to my child or my team members and the people that I interact, my mentors, and for each and every one of us, I would rather say that the entire EPGP community and the PGP community, I'm told that we are about, I think it is close to 9,000 to 10,000 of us. So that is your influence. And I believe that is huge. And as power of multiplication or geometric progression goes, that influence is something that you should be proud of. Thank you very much, sir. Happy Teachers' Day. And happy Teachers' Day for all of the other professors who has not been with us right now, but we are extending it via this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you to all of PPP and to all of you. Liz.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you for all the wishes to all my students.
Yeah, I would like to tell that behind this, there is Parvat, Kavita, Mark, Anshad, and all the people who have actually did the wishes. I'm so sorry that we were not able to actually put the wishes there, but it will be out very soon. The people who actually got together for 3 days, it was with a whip and with editing, everything was done. Thank you very much for having that support. Nitin, Ashwati, and the entire EPGP batch, the entire team. Thank you very much.